Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap 'cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care what you think 'cause he's a northern man. He's allowed to speak his mind. His
The Wigan Way podcast is brought to you by Cherry and White Pins, a local Wigan Warriors themed pin badge company with a variety of Wigan ranges. You can get free shipping on all orders when you use the code The Wigan Way, that's The Wigan Way, all in capitals, at checkout. Thanks to them for supporting the show.
Thank you for joining us this week. It's been a special weekend of rugby league, I think. I think that's the easiest thing to say. If you don't know, it was the Vegas weekend, and lads, it was absolutely special. I know obviously we were unfortunate we couldn't go due to work, but just generally, how brilliant for rugby league has this been?
Everything was just big. You know, everything about it was big. The stadium was big. It felt like the coverage was big. The number of eyes on the product seemed big. People talking about it. It felt like I wanted to win it as if it were a cup final.
Yeah.
I think it was good to market, and especially I think Wilkin made a very good point, I think, before the game, where he said about they've chosen the right two teams from Super League to go. To take Wigan and Warrington, like two competitive teams, two clubs with a bit of a rivalry, history, you know. I think it was it was something a product you could definitely market that game.
The thing for it, with the teams, to start with that, is Wigan have to be there.
For the first one.
For the first one, Wigan have to be there.
Given that it wasn't going to include any English teams until
we sorted it.
Yeah.
But even with that, it's the name, it's the brand, it's the most successful rugby league team.
And the current champions kind of have to go if it's the first one.
Yeah.
Especially when they've won everything.
It just felt like it was made to be Wigan. And then the question is who else is going to go? Warrington have been seen to try and improve the game. They've done things, whether you call it gimmicky or whether you think that it's good for the game. They've at least tried things. I think that's fair to say.
The Luke Littler Stadium.
When they started off with the NFTs, when they were a big thing, I'm not saying it worked, but
it was something, wasn't it?
They're trying, and they've put the money there. They've brought players back from the NRL. So Wizzy Rascal. What was that guy in the morph suit?
He used to have sprint races against people.
The Wire Flyer.
The Wire Flyer, yeah. So they've at least tried things, and you've got to give them credit for that, because we've been very critical of people not trying things and not trying to improve the game.
Yes, who have the same 14 home games. It seems they're a different team, but they churn out the same thing 14 times.
So I do think Warrington there, and obviously they've paid the way there and done that side of it.
And they've got I don't want to talk about too much, but the Burgess factor with the Australian public and the fact that he's
a household name,
a hero. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to say before we actually get into the pre-match stuff and the coverage and all that side of it was, I was looking at videos that Wigan put up and Warrington put up. It felt like they were superstars.
Oh yeah.
Watching them walk down Fremont Street, where they had I don't want to call it the fan zone, but they had a fan area, and they were interviewing people, and
it was a bit like
on big screens with people pinned back, wanting to see the legends. And
like they actually can't get out of this street because too many people want to speak to them. It's like Indian cricket team when they go
anywhere in India, and like what you expect when you see a footballer somewhere. It felt like we were on that level, and
you had Junior and Sember and Cruz Lehman going up in that roller coaster.
Yeah.
Or Brian Carney.
Actually, I logged on the Sky Sports app to watch through Sky Sports Plus, and it was like the front page was Junior and Cruz on the ride.
Yeah.
It was.
We was actually on as well, which is a big thing for rugby league. When you go onto the Sky Sports app,
the
main
The main channel.
You know, before you actually pick which sport you want to view the news of, it was there. So the first thing when you open the Sky Sports News, that was seeing that Wigan win in Vegas or something like that, which is brilliant.
The match was on Sky Sports main event, which is usually only for finals, and it was on the free channel as well, which never really rugby league never on that channel.
You know what throwing that as well. Like the BBC didn't show it, but they had commentary there on BBC Sounds. Talk Sport.
They do always have that, but they don't always have Talk Sport.
Talk Sport talking it up. I'm sure they sent a representative to go to Vegas.
Oh, every journalist in Britain who has even thought about covering rugby league was there.
Yeah. Brilliant.
We haven't got quite as many as Australia do, so we sent them all.
No. We'll talk about the actual before the game. I know it was the Saturday football studio that they used.
Well, it was the NFL studio.
Was it the NFL studio?
Which they're not using.
No.
Unless they use it for some other sport that I don't know.
How good was that? When Jenna, Sam and John were stood there, showing the players on the actual
I think
line.
they did a great job. Didn't Jenna Brooks do a great job?
Yeah.
And Sam and Wilkin did a good job. Jenna Brooks did a fantastic job.
I want that studio all the time.
Yeah. Even if it's not for every match, just for the...
There should be one match a week.
For the Friday night match on the week. Or,
biggest match that week should be in there. Like Saturday Night Football is for the football.
Because not much
Super
happens,
Sunday isn't, but the Saturday Night Football.
Not
or
much
the Monday
happens
night
for
football.
the... on a Friday night, really, for Sky. They have a couple of championship football games, I know.
Well, that's a good point, that. If you made Friday 8 o'clock your big game, whoever that is that week, it's main event. Friday night becomes rugby league night.
Well, St Helens are playing Hull KR this weekend.
Yeah.
At St Helens.
Yeah.
That is a huge game.
Yeah.
Both of them are unbeaten. They'll both be there or thereabouts, you'd imagine. When it comes to trophies, they've both got great players that everyone would know. That would be a perfect chance to do it.
But if you just had like
I'm not saying it has to come on
game.
an hour before like it did for Vegas, because there was a lot of extra stuff that went into Vegas.
Yeah, maybe 30 minutes. 30 minutes after of build-up. Again, it just looks so good seeing the team come out and the back three, and then it panned to the centres and the half-backs. It felt like...
And they actually said, let's stop talking about Jay Field right now and let's talk about Junior in December. And it changed to picture of Junior. Now, how many times, if that was a rugby league, would it flash up a picture of Sam Walters?
Mm-hmm. Or it just wouldn't change.
Yeah, it would stay on here.
It was just... It felt like they'd invested so much in it.
Do you know what I was telling as well? There was a... which we'll get onto in a second. Who did Saints play this weekend? Wakefield, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was on BBC. And at half-time, the only thing they did was show you the highlights. And then show you literally the corner flag. Because that was the only camera they had set up. Because they were using, I think, Sky's cameras didn't have like a studio or any pitch side or anything like that. And you're thinking, comparing the one to the other, you've literally got both ends of the spectrum. And the production value was so good.
Yeah.
Like I said, if that could happen on a regular basis, it's such a better product to market.
You had... Do you want to talk about commentary right now?
Yeah.
Vossi, Andrew Voss and Brandy, Greg Alexander.
I just want to interrupt you that. How good was Brian Carney?
Right, I want to talk about Brian Carney separately. But Vossi and Brandy know Super League. Especially Vossi. Vossi loves Super League. Brandy knows it as well. And you could tell they'd done their homework. Now, I watched a few games, EFL games. And the joke I always make when I'm watching the EFL games with people is the commentators only ever know 2 facts about someone. And it's usually where they signed from and for how much. So say Liam Marshall's coming down the wing, they would say, Liam Marshall, who was bought for so much from Swinton. But every time he touched the ball, they'd say those same 2 facts, because those are the only 2 facts you know about somebody, because you never watched that team before. These two clearly had watched plenty of Wigan and Warrington.
Yeah.
They'd done their homework. And Brian Carney let them do what they do best. And just added at the right times. He didn't shout over them.
He didn't make it the Brian Carney show.
He didn't make it the Brian Carney show, but he also didn't make it, I know everything about Super League. I work for Super League. Let me just correct you. Let me just interject on this. Let me just talk about this. He let them do the commentary and he added at vital moments.
I'll add to that. Obviously, they interviewed, was it Matty Johns beforehand?
Yeah.
And he said something that was slightly wrong. I think he said the wrong team that Matt Peat had come through at. He said that he was at St. Pat's.
Yeah.
But he just let it go. And just realised that this guy's bigging up.
It doesn't matter at that point, does it? If an Australian's got the wrong amateur club for Wigan, I know they'll want to know it right, but that's not the time to correct.
He just let them do the job. And I'm going to say, I love the fact that it would have been about 20 minutes in when they started talking about the World Cup Challenge during the game. Obviously, Greg Alexander's on the Penrith board.
Yeah.
And Vossi didn't really
Well, he's a bit of a club legend for Penrith, isn't he?
But Vossi didn't let him go. He didn't let him just say, oh, yeah, we'll see. He was like, no, we need the World Cup Challenge. And it was like, whilst it was in, and Wigan were playing well at that point, and it was like, no, we need to see these two teams against each other. It was like, it felt like three people watching rugby league who love it.
They do.
I think it was very good to see the Australians, Matty Johns and Andrew Voss in particular, speaking so good of the Super League game. Matty Johns was supporting it before the game, so he wants to get Peter V'landys in. If he said, if you can get him working in Super League when he's over there for his other sports, he's got his hand in. Like, it would be an amazing thing for your game. And Andrew Voss, I don't know if anyone's seen the tweet he's put out, but saying like it was an honour to be the main commentator for such a historic night in your competition and things like that. Like, he just speaks so good of the game. When you've got a lot of, I know I don't want to get onto keyboard warriors, but when you've got a lot of people over there who's just like, will just slate this English
British game, yes,
and not give any credit, anything, play the ball slow, this, that, it's second-rate competition, it's not this and not that. To hear two Australians actually speak and supporting the English game, I think is absolutely brilliant. So, fair play.
You're 100%. You're 100% right, Lewis, and it's a point I didn't think about making, but yeah, you're absolutely right. They are, both of them, quite influential in the NRL world, and
people respect their opinions.
Yeah, and we need them to big our
Gus Gould has said something quite similar. Although I have a bone to pick with Gus Gould because he said in season I'd retired, which is not true, Gus, and you know it.
But even with that, there was loads of other people amazed by that. Wigan fans. I've just got one tweet here as an example, but Darcy McDonald, who's involved with, I think she's Fox.
She's in the NRL media.
I think she's with Fox at the moment. That the Wigan Warriors are the best thing about Vegas this year, and obsessed with them or whatever.
Lara Pitt said it was 11,000 British fans, and roughly 60-40 in favour of Wigan.
Right to say here as well, the fans got a lot of credit.
They did.
Because they said bring in the Super League here with the English fans that are loud, with the songs, with the chants, with the singing. They went, that has changed the atmosphere. And they said, we're really glad the English fans have come over here.
Yeah.
They're much louder, they get behind the team, and it's a brilliant atmosphere they're creating in the stadiums. They did get a lot of credit.
I can't wait for all our friends who went to come back and tell us all about it, but I heard that we were put in with the Canberra lot.
Yeah.
And we were teaching them new chants because all they do is bang that drum and shout Raiders.
Yeah.
And then when they had Bateman, they used to shout Bateman in the same voice. So we were showing them some chants. That was good.
It's brilliant, and I think we mentioned it last week, but it's worth mentioning this. Even last Sunday before the game, seeing Roy Keane and Michael Richards talking about how much they were looking forward to it.
Well, we know Roy's a big rugby league fan, especially international game, so he'll want things like this too.
The weird thing is, though, I think if you're a rugby fan, you know that Roy Keane's into rugby. If you're a football fan who follows United but doesn't really know much about rugby league, you probably don't know that Keane actually goes to quite a few games and watches. And
there's a couple of Ryan Giggs who's a big Wigan fan as well.
Yeah.
Football people support.
Michael Richards was saying that he was a Leeds fan.
I didn't know that.
It's so big for the game to know that these other people watch our sport. And
Chris Kamara, season ticket holder at Wakefield.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Jeff. Unbelievable, Jeff.
But we've done the best part of 10 minutes talking about it.
Did you hear, just while I'm on Wakefield, just while I'm on Wakefield, I quite like their owner, Ellis.
Yeah.
And they asked him, would you go to Vegas? And he said no. And they said, why wouldn't you go to Vegas? And he said, you have to be in the top four. He said, until we were in the top four consistently for a few years, in the top four, always fighting, I wouldn't dream of going.
Well, this might be worth mentioning now. There's obviously talks about who's going to go next year, and we actually don't know the setup. V'landys has said that probably 4 games was a little bit too long, and I think that might be a first statement. I could see it going to 3. There's been talks about whether it'll be a World Cup Challenge game, whether it'll be 2 NRL, 1 Rugby Super League, how it'll work. If Super League go back, and I hope they do, I can't see Wigan and Warrington going again.
No.
Although there's already talks about us having the reverse fixture, the Warrington home game next year in Dublin.
Yeah.
which is one of the rumours I've seen, which would be brilliant. Again, take another game on the road. But my point being is, who do you think would be the best teams to go?
You need to be able to afford it. I'd like to see Catalan go.
I was going to say it's between 4 for me.
I'd like to see Catalan go because they are unique. They're a big market. And I don't know how well the fans will travel.
I'll say the 4 that I've got. I think it's Leeds, St Helens, Hull KR or Catalan. 2 of them 4 go for me.
If you took 4 teams, do you reckon you could get to 20,000? You'd have to do it over 2 days then, though, wouldn't you?
Yes.
If you took two Super League fixtures, you took 4 Super League teams, you could get 20,000. Because you got 11,000 just from Wigan and Warrington, plus neutrals.
Yeah, maybe. I think all of them 4 teams would take.
I don't know how many Catalan would take. I don't think they'd take many.
I don't think it's often you get to do something like that.
I don't know what Catalan fans are like for that sort of thing.
I think you've got to take competitive teams though as well to market the product. I don't know at the minute if you out of those 4, I'd take. You said Saints, okay, Catalan and Leeds, didn't you?
Yeah.
I'd take Saints and KR then.
Well, if you were going for a fan reason, you'd take Hull FC. They'd travel. I mean, that's why there's a reason we picked them for Australia.
Yeah. Well, I think Hull KR would have to be one. They've got some of the names now as well. Jared Hargreaves.
I think they've earned it.
They've earned it.
They're competitive. And the fans have earned it through turning out at Craven Park and making it a fortress and again singing the songs. And
Hull KR against Hull FC.
Hull Derby in Vegas.
Well, the last time they opened up the season, though,
they'd have to, they'd have to prove Hull FC. They'd have to.
If they could make the top 6 this year,
they don't have to make the top 6. They just have to be competitive in the derbies, win one of the derbies. Then I'd say yes to it. But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Right. Wigan and Warrington haven't even played yet at this timeline of what we're talking about.
Next year,
they're not kicked off yet.
Right. We're gonna have to get into the game because it was so good. And my worry was that it was going to be, we might not perform to the level that the NRL sides do, and then
Barcelona start. I was worried about Barcelona.
Yeah, not necessarily just that, but I mean both teams not play to an NRL standard, and then the argument is, it's not as good as the NRL. Wigan, especially, I think this is fair to say, have walked away with people thinking actually these men could compete in the NRL.
Yeah,
and
on a third of the salary cap.
And if you could up that, wow, they would be competitive. The talk already, we've seen posts already from the NRL things about how good Matt Peet is and should they be looking at him in the NRL. There's 5 or 6 players that have actually walked away with people suggesting they should go to the NRL. And I don't think any of them players will.
No.
Or anytime soon. I don't think Matty Peet will anytime soon. But I just think suddenly it's so elevated the stature of our club over there, and it's actually gained a little bit more respect. Arvin Cleary's comments of, what was it that he used, sorry?
He said it's a good job we didn't play Wigan.
Yeah.
Is the superstars on show though? Like, what a product. Do you mean the superstars went on show? Obviously, Bevan French is the first name that springs to mind. December running over the top of people and the replays were showing him storming other people. I'm thinking like Americans, especially in Vegas, who love American football, people just diving into each other with helmets and crash pads on and everything like that. Like, there must be a gap in there. Those American contact, really high, full adrenaline, powerful, fast-paced sport.
The message that we got was that from somebody who was there was an American contingent watching it, absolutely frightened by the lack of pads and the collisions.
Yeah.
And also the fact that there's hardly any subs and the game just moves.
And it's not stop-start like the NFL, is it?
When you score, one of you guys who might have scored has to kick the goal. Yeah. You don't bring somebody on just to kick goals.
Well, this is the thing as well. Obviously, the Aussie time isn't necessarily great for...
No, but Super League's perfect.
But Super League is at a very good time. And if you can get fans involved watching Super League, then you might get them also watching the NRL. So I think Volandis is aware of that actually we have 2 different time zones playing. We might get more from America watching. So I do think there is a thought there that if Super League could catch the attention and...
I don't see why we wouldn't give Peter Volandis a chance. I don't see what the downside is.
I'd give him keys to the castle.
I don't see the downside to giving him keys to the castle. I get people will say, "What about?" But all those people say, "Well, what about us? We wouldn't get a chance to get into Super League and make this money." Well, you've had 150 years.
Yeah, and the big thing for that is as well is people say they'll use it as a feeder competition. It already is. It already is. There are very few top clubs in Super League that can retain their talent,
but their salary cap is increased every year due to inflation. Ours is staying the same.
Yeah.
So that gap is going to get wider.
And you saw what Volandis did. I don't know if people are listening and they're not aware about what Volandis did during COVID, realising that the game didn't have the money to sustain itself. And the amount of money he's made for the NRL now, that I think it's the highest grossing sport in Australia now, in terms of revenue.
Yeah.
And he's done that in the best part of 3-4 years.
It's so unusual and yet refreshing to hear people speak about Peter Volandis as an administrator in such glowing tones. Usually, people rip into administrators, and quite often they deserve it. And, we've had some words about the administration in this country before. And if it's good, don't say anything. Don't say anything if it's good.
Yeah.
For somebody to actually go out of their way to praise the job he's doing, must be doing a good job.
Yeah.
Must be.
It shows how much he's wanted over there.
Well, he must be doing a good job.
Yeah.
Do we kick off this game?
Yeah. 20 minutes in here, we've not even talked about it. Right. So, brilliant game, brilliant start, and obviously, Wigan kick off. I love actually being the one to kick off in a big game. It is so important to kick off.
You win the toss, you always kick first.
Defend.
Always defend.
The stars and stripes were flying on.
Lovely kit.
I love
the kit.
Yeah, I love it.
You know, I loved as well the ball. And
the ball.
It just looked like a proper rugby ball that was made for a big event, rather than just the bog standard. You had the flags on either end.
Did see Adam Kieran decide which flag he was allowed to kick. I wouldn't be kicking the stars and stripes flag.
No.
They're a bit pressed about that. Yankee land.
Very patriotic.
Yes.
So anyway, we kick off, defend the first set. Always like to do that in big games, important games. In the first 5 or 6 minutes, are a little bit of an arm wrestle.
We cut him open and threw the ball in touch. And I thought, oh dear, that's a
mischance.
I think we did twice, didn't we? Earlier in the game.
I can't remember it.
There was one, I think.
Yeah.
Marshall, I think Field threw a pass that went
In front of
touch
Marshall.
change, and then there was the one where Miskey wasn't hugging the wing, and it threw. So I think there were two that got thrown in touch
We opened
early
a bit
on.
of space and Miskey wasn't hugging the wing.
Yeah.
But it was Warrington that got off with the first opportunity, really, 7 minutes in. George Williams. Now, this is... It's that 5-and-5 box kick. This isn't a kick to really have a go at scoring. It's just a safe kick, a box kick, pin Wigan in. And it does that. Adam Kieran climbs highest, lands, and Toby King, as he hits the floor, steals the ball one-on-one. Now, this was given on-field decision of a try.
Yeah, it went to the video ref, doesn't it?
But the video ref reviewed it. Adam Kieran, he's on the floor. Toby King touches Kieran, and it means that it's a ball steal.
Ball carrying arms on the floor. Right decision.
If Kieran had then, in bidding in a second situation, then moved his arm,
It would have
something
been
had happened after that, it would have been a double movement. So.
Right decision. It was very, very quick, so I can look at Toby King and go, oh, you'll feel a little bit hard done too.
I don't think it should be a penalty. I'll be honest. But I can, obviously, it's a ball steal, so it is a penalty.
Yeah.
But because it happened so fast, I feel like, no try. Definitely no try. But maybe a play the ball or a tap or something. I just feel like a penalty is a bit like double jeopardy. You've not scored and also it's a penalty to the other team.
But I will say, and it's worth mentioning, this did happen later on with Adam Kieran and Toby King, where Kieran collected a ball, dove to the floor to get into the field of play, and King waited over him, and then touched him to try and pick him up and push him back over the line. But the moment you touch him, he's grounded. It's tackled. and then he gives a penalty away, and that...
Refs never let you do that.
No, and that more than this one would have really frustrated me if I was Sam Burgess. This one is, you know what, you're trying to get a try.
Yeah.
Later on, that is such a silly mistake to make. That penalty gets us some good field position. A minute later, we have our first attempt.
I think it was a bit of a breathless game, wasn't it?
It was.
Like there were 3 mistakes or 4 mistakes, and they were all trying to score a try.
Yeah.
You know, they flashed up those completion rates, and Warrington's was 80% and ours was 50-something. And you know, somebody said, "Oh, look at that completion rate's not very good." I was like, "Yeah, but every mistake from both teams has been trying to score a try."
Yeah.
And if that mistake's not made, it's another try or...
Yeah.
That's the thing with the statistics sometimes.
When you're
Because
so
obviously
early in the
numbers
game,
don't lie and
at the end of the season,
don't, but-
I can see completion rate at the end of the season, maybe.
Yeah.
But so close into a game, 10, 15 minutes into a game, you can, well, they drop ball twice, try and score.
Yeah.
They've pushed the extra pass, they've thrown it in touch on the line. That's as good as getting tackled.
It's got to be in context.
Yeah.
That's what I said. There's the metric of mistakes made, but there's not of the style of mistake.
You make a mistake like Field did where he passed it in touch inside 10, or you get tackled on the last tackle inside 10. They're basically the same thing, but one counts as a mistake and one counts as a completed set.
Yeah.
Now, this attempt, it reminded me so much of a play that we used to do 2-3 years ago. Obviously, Harry Smith plays on the left-hand side, and he would regularly kick to Kai Pearce-Paul on the right-hand side. This time, Smith has come across to the right and put a crossfield kick back across to where he would naturally be for Junior in December. And I just thought, that was my one surprise last year when we switched Farrell and December, because he didn't have that kick option to a big second rower.
We didn't kick much to December.
No.
For a while.
No, we didn't.
Feels like we've done it a lot more this year.
That's what I saw. I mean, I thought last season when he played on the right early on, we'd have used it like we used Kai Pearce-Paul. But we didn't really do it. And then this year, we've done it a few times where Smith's gone to the right-hand side to play a left-footed kick back across. And why wouldn't you? The guy's 6'4", 6'5", reaches higher than anyone else, then wrestles. Like, would you have been surprised if another player had just dropped to the floor and said, "You know what, I've got 2 men on me"?
Take out what he looks like, apart from maybe size. As a second rower, plucking the ball into the sky like that and then coming out with a ridiculous offload. Does it remind you of anyone? Or remind me of Joel Tompkins. Joel Tompkins, where he plucked the ball like young Joel Tompkins, you know?
Yeah.
Where he could find those offloads where you thought, there's no way he's offloading this, he's tackled, and then he just miraculously found the offload, squeeze an offload there. Like, that's an unbelievable offload.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
It's so big, not falling, just...
Take some finishing that after that, but that's an unbelievable position.
Yeah, it is.
To create a chance from that is unbelievable.
So yeah, Liam Marshall, a jump very similar to his one against, was it Lee at home? Where he jumped over a mile of Hanley. Very similar to that.
He's usually pretty good at these.
Yeah.
I thought he had it.
Yeah.
I went when doing laps around the living room thinking he scored.
Yeah.
And when you actually look at his
expect
reaction,
it, don't you?
Yeah.
When you're with Liam Mark, you get there and as soon as you see his jumps and he's in the field of play, you think, of course, and then
That's the easy bit. I feel like that. It feels like he's done the hard part.
Yeah. But he's actually got that high. It's so long to keep hold of that ball.
yeah.
But if anyone scores it, it's Liam Marshall. Obviously, the ball, a little bit of separation.
Yeah.
Knock on,
Separation.
he bounces the ball. Really, really unfortunate. And what can you do there, really? He's done pretty much everything he can. Correct decision. Game stays 0-0. It's then another 10 minutes or so till we get another chance. This time a Harry Smith kick, about 20, 25 metres out.
Harry Smith got a lot of praise this game from the commentators, saying he was, again, like with the general orchestrating play. And his kicks in this game were superb.
Every time.
Every single one was just before the try line type thing. Just short of the try line, just making them either putting it for December to compete, or when they caught it, they were getting 0 tackle inside their own 10. It was an amazing display from Harry Smith, this.
This kick, he just drops it on Thewlis, so he can only get a step and a jump at it.
It's another big game where he's kicked
Phenomenally well.
Yeah. And he didn't really need his long kicking game in this game.
Sorry, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna say this. He is the best 7 in the league. I'm not saying he's the best halfback, but as a 7 for what he does, there is no one in Super League, and there's maybe 2 or 3 in the world that can do what Harry Smith does.
I mean, we have kind of got top 3 in every position. That's why we win everything in the last 12 months.
But this is the same Harry Smith that everyone was telling us 4 years ago will never be a Super League player, and he'll end up in the Championship. And he played on a beaten pack, and he kept us in games. He didn't have a half-back partner. Tommy was injured and in and out of the team. Hastings played a lot at full-back, and Harry Smith tried to boss.
Harry Smith has had his detractors for his whole career, and I don't think he cares.
No. I just don't get how he still does.
People don't see it.
A perfect kick, this, on top of Thewlis. But he allows Marshall, gives it enough time that Marshall can time his run, contest it, gets high. Now, Marshall sort of misses it. I don't know if he pulls his hand away.
We get a bit lucky with this, but we earned it.
Yeah. Off Thewlis' hand. Bounces in field. Skips past the Warrington defender who's trying to cover into Tyler Dupree, who grounds the ball.
I mean, what odds would you have got on Tyler Dupree, first try scorer, having been named on the bench?
Well, it was funny. As soon as they started talking about his uncle...
His uncle, Billy Joe Dupree, played for the Dallas Cowboys.
I thought, obviously he was going to score first, wasn't it?
Yeah. One funny thing was...
Written in the stars,
actually, Billy Joe won that Super Bowl before Tyler was born. And someone said his nephew got born, grew up, and scored a rugby try before the Cowboys made it back to the Super Bowl. Because they've not been back to one since then.
Really? Chances of that? Right, moving on. Just 4 minutes later, Kieran converts, it's 6-0. We roll downfield again, get some really, really good field position.
Let's get used to saying that. Kieran converts.
Yeah, 8 conversions. Just knock them over.
Every single one was like a frozen rope, like a bullet.
I don't mind him taking 3 minutes for every kick if he's nailing them.
I can't, but Thewlis was nailing them as well. Anybody in the crowd there must have been thinking, what is Super League like for goal kicking? If you score a try, you might as well give them 6 points. Unbelievable goal kicking. And then Fogarty nailed the first one from the touch line.
That's what Voss's comment was, wasn't it? They've set the standards for the following goal kickers.
Ridiculous that those two... From how many were out wide?
Yeah. Let's go to the Wiggins next try. 17 minutes left in the half. Play the ball to Harry Smith. Attacks the line. Gives Bevan French... There's such depth on this. If you look at the depth, 10 metres behind each other. Just so much time as a defender. Time scares you. If someone's up in your face and you can deal with it, well, it's the...
Well, Bevan French is hard enough to tackle. If you give him 10 metres and...
Let him pick what he wants to do.
Time, just make him...
French.
And look at the bodies in the frame there. You've got 3 defenders against 5 attackers, really.
And French is running at Ollie Leyland. Liam Farrell's coming on a short ball. If you're Toby King and Matty Ashton, you can see Jay Field and you're just thinking, this is the block play. It's going to hit Field and Field is going to pick who he wants to pass. King at that point shoots out.
One of them has to hit Field.
King shoots out.
King has no choice.
No, he has no choice, but he has to shoot out on Field. Matty Ashton doesn't really go with him.
Not quick enough.
And reacts. And he finds Adam Kieran, which just gives him a perfect 2-on-1.
Lovely centre play, this, by
Silky
the way.
centre
catch
play.
pass.
Catch pass, out to Miski. Now, 15 out, not a man in sight. He should walk this in, but what was that Toby King said? Abbas Miski eats those for breakfast.
He eats those for breakfast.
And this is a hell of a finish.
He slips it through the gears.
Yeah, slipped it into second.
Slipped in a second. Yeah.
Manages to ground it with an unbelievable finish just inside the field of play.
Last blade of grass.
Yeah, last bit.
Making it nice and easy for an Adam Kieran conversion.
And he was running in from off concrete. That's ridiculous that he kicked.
The question is why would you leave a £20,000, $20,000, whatever you want to call it, camera lens setup?
Oh no!
All for him to land on.
Right next to the corner post where you know that they're known for
I can't
diving.
imagine that wasn't painful for that.
Oh,
That
I
was
would have been a big tickle
thing.
that would have it.
Do you reckon there was a bit of get up here and don't wince? Don't wince.
No, because if you wince, it probably sends it up as no try.
Converted. Again, 4 minutes later, back in good field position. Harry Smith just beats that first defender with a little bit of a shimmy.
The movement to shimmy is gorgeous, isn't it?
And all of a sudden, it's gone from being a probably 4v5 to he's beat the marker, he's beat the A defender, and it's a 4-on-3 now with December, Wardle and Marshall on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
He draws in that first, the Warrington centre. December steps through about 4 tackles, throws the ball back inside, clips Sam Walters. Is that the right technical term?
Yeah, it's him, doesn't it? But it's going backwards all the way back
Yeah.
into Bevan French's hands, isn't it?
Yeah. Bevan
And
French.
He's in the right place at the right time, so it sits up nicely for him. It looks lucky.
There's all good players there. Right place, right time. You can read the game, you know where it's going to pop up.
Yep.
It's amazing how the best players are always in the right place.
They always get
It's
the
like they
lucky-
know the game.
It's intelligence.
They always
yeah.
get the lucky bounce.
Yeah,
It's not luck, is it?
No, it's
they know
timing
where to
and-
be. They know where the danger is. They can sense it. It's intelligence.
And you just knew he was going to have his stamp on the game, and this isn't even his main thing.
No.
Because he's just finishing one off.
But that's the thing.
You knew he was going to score.
We've
Yeah.
seen so many tries of Bevan Frenchie's where he kicks in behind and the ball just sits up. That's through hours and hours and hours of practice. And I know the rugby ball's unpredictable. But when you watch it so many times and you try it so many times, you learn how it bounces and you learn when it sits up right. And you just time your run to that. He times it, great pick up, great hands, under the sticks. And it's 18 points to 0 because Adam Kieran is not missing those. Now, we talked about it last week. Scoring tries with like 3-4 minutes to go before half time is a killer. If you're Warrington, you're thinking, let's just get in here. 18-0.
18-0.
18-0. If we can score first in the second half, we're back in this game.
Yeah.
Quick play the ball from Wigan. Harry Smith jumps in at 9. Finds Bevan
Another power
French.
play. I know he said how well he kicked Smith, but that's 2 tries in a row where it was power play. I don't know what the Miski one was. I don't think it was, but 2 power plays in a row where we scored.
Yeah. Finds Bevan French on the right-hand side. A retreating Warrington defence. And again, we're in that situation where French is running at the third in defender. It's a 4-on-3. And young Ollie Leyland, who it's probably worth mentioning, was terrorised in defence. He was targeted.
Yeah.
And I can't blame Wigan for that.
No, you can't blame Wigan for targeting a defender.
But he's then covering behind the back of the ruck. He's trying to get out to Bevan French. Overcommits.
The ball for why was the speed of the play ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he could
You know, on your 10 metre
not
line,
stop it
you
all.
do not want to be facing your own goal on the 10 metre line running backwards and Wigan play the ball. That is a
you think that's
recipe for disaster.
Do you think that's something they've seen? Because
No, I think it was just a case of our lads were running it in so willingly, so strong, and with such pace that they couldn't then deal with the play of the ball.
But
Getting quick play of the balls.
what I mean, sorry, it's Smith is at 9 and he gives it to French. It would be very easy for Smith to just say, right, if we get tackled, I'm setting up the next player to go shot and hit him on the far left. You know, that almost be set up for that.
It was last tackle. It's
It
last
was,
tackle.
yeah, sorry. But he actually pushes up on the inside. And Bevan French, the awareness or whatever you want to call it, just finds it back on the inside.
It's just demanding ball. When he sees that he's there and the Warrington line's retreating to it, facing its own goal line, it's right, give me the ball now, I'm pushing up on the inside, we're doing the power play.
Yeah.
Nan needs to find French it is on this case, and because that's where the danger is.
And stay in the frame. Keep bodies in the frame.
There is one thing that needs to be mentioned on this try, and it's not the defence of Geordie Crowther who's in the picture trying to top him.
Yeah.
It's Matt Duffy decides to stand behind the try line and then not make an attempt.
I know we're in Vegas and they've got all the statues.
Well,
Can they do one of Matt Duffy standing there with his arms down?
That was one thing that some Australian fans did find a bit embarrassing. Was the defence of Duffy on this try.
But that was the reason that he's over here.
Yeah.
As an attacking player, and listen, I'm going to praise him because he does something really, really well for Warrington that I mentioned to you, Lewis, at the time. Very often, the last tackle, he goes tackle 5, lands on his front, gets a quick play of the ball.
He's very valuable
Passing,
when they've got the ball.
they can, but actually doing hard work to get a quick play of the ball.
Yeah.
So Williams and Leyland can kick well. But he was always criticised for his defensive work over there. And eventually, enough teams had seen it that they dropped him, and he ended up at Warrington. A little bit unlike French and Field, who came for different reasons, probably not big enough, probably not the same size as Duffy. Duffy's a unit.
And Duffy had the best career rate of all three of them in the NRL.
But defensively, that's so poor. And I know we're going to talk about the second half in a little bit. But when James Harrison scores, Harry Smith's throwing his body at him to try and knock on, and it's 42 points to 6 at the time.
Yeah.
Duffy just waves him through it. And as good as you can be going forward, he ends up scoring later on and setting a try up. He's let 6 points in. You've got to score 2 tries for everyone you let in. He's not good enough. Love Harry Smith jumping past Danny Walker to get a little bit of a roly-poly.
He did that against OKR in the semi.
Big game, Harry. He just absolutely bossed it. That's half-time. Adam Kieran converts 24 points to 0. And that is just the perfect half, really.
I mean, what were you thinking when it went to half-time break? You're just so relieved, aren't you? Because you can't see them giving up this lead.
I couldn't see us
with the professional.
I couldn't see us conceding 5 converted tries and us not getting a point.
Yeah, no.
Well, 4 would have got it even. I couldn't see us conceding 4 and maybe a penalty or whatever.
Yeah, without us scoring.
Without us scoring a point.
You think, well, half-time's come at the wrong time for us, but we've managed to cash in with getting that Smith try just before. Yeah. So really,
I think that really set them on nerves because you go 18 nil. Listen, they kick off to you. You drop the ball.
They score immediately. All of a sudden, they're giving them the ball back 18-6 within 2. You know, Thewlis is kicking everything. So, yeah, I get you. But I think, half-time's come at the wrong time, though. We were on top.
You said it before. It's the one before half-time that kills you. The one before half-time. And I think sometimes even, obviously, I think definitely the fact it went to 24 rather than 18, because 4 tries is a lot of 3. But I think any score before half-time is a killer.
Even if it was just a 2-point.
Just swings the momentum. It just takes a bit of sting out.
You know what's a big thing as well, I think? That first number changing from 1 to 2. Going from 6 to 10. Not necessarily 12 to 16 or whatever, but it's only 20 points we need.
It's psychological, you know how much harder it is to chase 100 down on a Saturday than 99.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter, should it?
Yeah.
It's only 1 extra, but it feels a lot more.
And you go in, and we're going to take a break in a second, so we'll talk about this. But what do you think the coaches were thinking? I'll let him think about that while we have a break. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back to talk about the second half and, well, the rest of Vegas, really. So we're back to talk about the second half, the rest of Vegas, everything else that went on. 24-0. I'll give you time to think. If you're Matty Pete, what do you say? More of the same? Get back in the arm wrestle?
Just more of the same, I think.
You can't say much without ruining it there, can you?
Yeah, just more of the same. Go out, be professional, get the job done. Don't get ahead of yourselves.
I think the method
you go.
Don't win by too much. Don't make us look daft. Don't win by 50. Just win easy.
I just think there'd have been a...
Show off
a bit.
And then win easy.
But when you defend. You don't make any silly mistakes. You don't try and cheat the game, which we started to do for about a 5-minute period once it got to 40.
That's what you see. That's what I don't. I think he would have said, "Don't cheat the game. Don't take shortcuts. Don't." You earned the right to be winning 24-0 at half time. Deserved.
Well, that's what we did. Obviously, we kicked off. We rolled downfield. Second set. On the fourth, we were pushing the halfway line, and that leads up to the try. Leaving from 9, Cade Ellis, Harry Smith gets early ball to field.
That is absolutely delicious. Can we just say that?
This is a narrow pitch.
That is absolutely...
By any standards, this is narrower than any pitch we'll play on this season. And we've just carved them up. Look how much space Marshall's got there.
Well, I'm just going to say this, obviously. There's a little bit of a subtlety.
This is inside the numbers.
Yeah. There was a little bit of a subtlety that I noticed, especially in the first half when we were setting up to play, rather than this being a little bit more free-flowing at the second half. Normally we set up on the post to give ourselves that distance. Mm-hmm. We actually went a little bit further, only 4 or 5 metres, but got outside the post, and it just gave us a little bit more room than what we would have had, just to account for that smaller pitch. And I just think that's such a subtle notice that actually let's just give ourselves a bit of room. So yeah, perfect hands. Cade Ellis to Harry Smith to Jay, and it would have been
Jay
Thewlis and King was the right side.
Thewlis and Lindop.
Thewlis and Lindop, who shot up, don't get the field then. He's so good at this, picks the right pass. Marshy sets off down the wing, and Jay's just in cruise control.
He's always beating Dan Norman. Liam Marshall's always beating Dan Norman in a race.
Yeah. And it's just waiting. It's just wait for Dufty to make a decision.
Walters genuinely looks like he's gone on holiday with his little brother and all his little brother's mates. He's so much bigger than everybody else.
Go on holiday, look after him.
Like that one kid who's got into in year 6 and he has a big growth spurt before everybody else.
But that then leads to another try. Field scores, kick the goal, and it's now 30 points to 0. And
I love the double pump from Marshall, then pass it inside anyway, then just laugh at Dufty for failing to tackle him.
We talk about Dufty defensively. He backed off, did the right thing, and then once Liam Marshall had picked his pass, then went to try and tackle Marshall out. 2-on-1s
are so tough, aren't they, for full-back?
They're so hard, but the one thing you can't do is wait for him to make a decision and then tackle the wrong man. He backed off and did the right thing and waited for Marshall to pass to then try and tackle him. I just, not a fan of that.
He couldn't tackle us Sunday dinner.
Yeah. It's fair enough.
Let's move on.
5 minutes later, Bev, from 9, just runs. It sounds so unfair to say, but just runs through a gap. He just picks a gap in the line.
I don't know how there were so many gaps in narrow pitch. They just were.
Straight through. Coming across to Dufty, a little bit of a step. 2 missed tackles, one off Matty Ashton covering Dufty.
Guess who?
Dufty with a trailing arm, not really a big shot that you'd expect. He then draws Thewlis, I want to say it was, finds Jay, and Jay, this is so clever, steps outside, beats Aaron Lindop. Then he comes back to straighten up to Matty Ashton, and then finds a massive cut-out ball to Jake Wardle, and Vossi went mad.
This try is just everything you want from a big showpiece event like this.
Champagne rugby.
It is champagne rugby.
Jake Wardle dives in the corner and converts. And before we go to the next try, I mentioned it before, Ollie Leyland. The first 20 minutes he defended on the right side and had 2 or 3 junior December barnstorming runs over the top of him. There was one where he was basically off his feet trying to hang on to him. And then we're going to switch you. We'll move George over there. George is a good defender for a halfback standard.
For a halfback, he's an excellent defender. For a halfback, he's a good defender by any standards. But for a halfback, he's an excellent defender.
And we'll send George over there to deal with Junior. You go to the left-hand side. Well, you're now going to have Bevan French running at you. That is not a let-off, is it? In a different way, that is not a let-off. At least Junior's going to run over the top of you. Bevan French can make you look silly. And he makes him look silly 2 or 3 minutes later. Skips past him. Bit of a fake pass. Comes up to Dufty, who also misses the tackle again. Finds Forber on the inside, who finds Luke Thompson. And he dives over. And 15 minutes into the game, into the second half, we've scored 18 unanswered points.
55 minutes into the game and we are 42-0 up against one of our closest rivals.
Yeah.
I'm glad Thompson got this try. With how hard he works day in, day out, game after game, big minutes, doing the hard stuff, puts the shift in for him to get his big moment in Vegas and go for a try. He's earned that, hasn't
he? Yeah. And now it's now showing why we paid the money for him. Why we paid it. He's so good.
He's worth it, isn't he?
Is he the best prop in Super League? He's certainly up there, if not.
Yes,
I think he is.
Yeah, he is.
He's in top 3 and he's not second or third. So, great stage for him. 10 minutes later, keep the score 42-0 for the next 10 minutes, and we just take our foot off the gas a little bit. We started to bring a few errors in.
We do.
Trying to play. I don't mind that trying to play.
We do.
While it's Vegas.
It's
a normal Super League game at home, I'd be saying stick to your processes.
I think a normal Super League game at home, we'd have got 30 and we'd have put the car in second and coasted home on defence. We've done that many times. I think the fact that it was Vegas and the fact that Pete had said so many times, we're here to entertain, we're here to entertain, we're here to put on a show, I think that's why we pushed it a bit more. And that takes a lot out of you. 55 minutes, 65 by the time they actually score a point. Can you go up with them switching off for 15 minutes? I can.
The conspiracy theorists are out saying it's Vegas, we were trying to, show off our product. Did Matty Pete get a phone call from the RL? Listen, Matty.
What are you doing, Matty?
We don't need you winning 60-0 against your close house. It's not good for the game.
I don't. I just think a little bit of fatigue.
The Belarus coach never got that phone call.
Yeah, the Belarus coach didn't, yeah. But I don't know. I've heard I've seen the conspiracy theories online. I don't agree with it, but the conspiracy theorists are out.
No, I don't think that was ever a call made.
I just think we played 65 perfect minutes and it's impossible to play 80.
Yeah.
You can't play 80 perfect minutes.
Yeah. And you can't play 80 minutes perfectly playing that style of rugby where everyone's sprinting into gaps, backing people, flying round.
We must have been tired from always going length of field every time we got the ball.
Yeah. Everything that had gone on, the travel, and I know the travel was a few days earlier, but you know what? For 10 minutes, just your heads go.
It's so difficult, 42-0 up, to still play as if it's 0-0. I mean, I say difficult. It's not difficult. It's impossible. You can't play when you know you're 42-0 up. You cannot play like it's 0-0. I know that's the old adage, but you can't.
Not when you're coming out to entertain as well.
Used to be a joke that on Sunday morning.
Still 0-0.
Still 0-0, boys. Still 0-0. It's like 30-0 up. It's still 0-0. It's like, yeah, but it's just really not though.
It's impossible to actually.
It is.
It's impossible to actually do it. If you've played sport before, you'll know you cannot. When the game is won and won handsomely, you cannot still play as if it isn't.
Yeah.
There's something in your body that tells you the game's won.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? Like, we are putting on a show, but also there is that thing in your body that says you don't need to score. You don't need to keep them out.
Warrington's first try, kicking behind by Williams, and it just holds up. Yeah, it's a good kick. He's rolled it on the belly of the ball.
Williams always has.
He's a good shot kicker.
Always has been good shot kicker.
He's rolled it almost on the belly of the ball rather than a traditional.
Well, this was his pet play for a while, wasn't it? When he played for us, And
it just sits up. It gets a little bit of bobble. Aaron Lindop looked really hard. He'd had
good
a
for him,
difficult...
the 18-year-old getting a try in Vegas.
Yeah.
First Warrington try scorer in Vegas.
He had a difficult game. I think everyone had, if you're looking defensively, but 18 years old, he was caught out of position a couple of times.
He's their player with the most hair, and their second try scorer was the player with the least hair. I didn't recognise him at first, but Harrison's got rid of the receding hair, just gone with nothing.
Yeah,
embrace it.
I've got to respect that. It looks better.
He's got no hair and he just don't care.
It looks better.
It's what you need.
It looks like Chris Hill when he's charging off the ball.
Yeah. But this is...
He'll want to make a similar impact.
When we talk about Dufty, this is what I want to talk about, going back to the rugby. Kick from Williams, finds Ben Curry. Bit of a quarterback throw infield to James Harrison.
Well, except that it went backwards.
It went backwards. And James Harrison grounds the ball. Harry Smith at 42 points to 6 has come flying across to try and effect a tackle. There is no need for him to try and do that. But it's because you take pride in your defence.
That's such a weird image that you just pause it on. Someone's scoring a try by just bending over.
Looks like he's going to break his back there.
Yeah,
hamstrings on full stretch.
The ref's wearing Foot Locker uniform. Looks like Harry Smith sitting down on an invisible chair. That's such an awkward looking try, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. But
They all looked a bit awkward. I don't know if it was the grass or turf or whatever it was in the in goals.
I will say this, I do not like the black in goals.
They all looked a bit weird, didn't they?
Yeah.
They all looked a bit like they were putting the ball in and then kind of just diving over, not like a slide over like they usually would. I guess it's quite dry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Warrington then put a scrum play on 10 minutes later. So with 5 minutes left, it was 42 points to 12. I think Peter will be a little bit disappointed.
Yeah,
with how
I'd be
was
disappointed about
defended.
this one. I think the ones from kicks, anyone can concede from a kick. The intercept, anyone can concede from an intercept. But this one will be disappointed. It's a nice scrum play, but we defend it perfectly.
It's a nice scrum play, and when Dufty actually gets the ball to 10, 15 metres in, he's 2v2. Jake Wardle and Liam Marshall defending against Dufty and Thewlis. I've just got to question December a little bit. Jumps almost around him. He just gets him on the outside of Wardle.
He's kind of backing off and then he just goes all of a sudden and jumps up, doesn't he? They never really a line.
Yeah.
He's a bit back and then he goes...
He sort of doesn't give the inside pressure that would just push Dufty wider. And he comes back on the inside of Wardle. But Dufty's good from that position. Scores, makes it 42-18.
Yeah, he's got a lot of tries for a reason, hasn't he?
Yeah.
1 minute later, scrum play. Wouldn't have been a Wigan scorecard, really, without a scrum play. I don't
Or
think.
without a try for Marshall. It's his first try of the season, can you believe that?
I don't know.
We scored loads of tries. This is his first try for Marshall.
Yeah. This is just a simple block play. Smith, off the back of the scrum.
It's simple, but it's effective if you execute this. You've got 4-on-3.
It's a 4-on-3.
Because you've got to respect the both sides of the scrum. You've got to defend both sides of the scrum evenly. You've got French on the other side. He could get it.
And this is what I want to mention. Aaron Lindop's dealing with Wardle one-on-one. Jake Wardle's made the best centres in the world miss one-on-one. So you've got to give him the respect that he deserves. Field then gets the ball running at Thewlis, and there is nothing that he can do. It's just whether if he bites it on field, he passes like he does, or he lets field go in and score. Marshall scores in the corner, and that wraps up Wigan's scoring for the day. 48 points to 18 with 2 to go. And then finally, we have another attempt to try and break 50. I was urging us to try and break 50. Bev throws a big cut-out ball.
His move in and out was quite clever. It got the overlap.
Yeah.
And then
He pushes to the open side.
He just pushed the pass the wrong one too many. He
hits Kieran scores.
Yeah, it's the play that... If you remember Toby King scoring at Good Friday?
Yes.
It's the play there where the winger's pushed up on the winger and the centre's free. It's that one, he hits Kieran. It's a try, but he's pushing the pass, isn't he?
Yeah.
And like I said last week, he doesn't throw any intercepts anymore. If this is his intercept, and he's throwing it now, up 40 points.
Yeah.
36 points.
We'll have it.
We'll have it then.
We'll take it.
Now, to mention with this, 48 points to 18. Matty Ashton's in the open.
Is there a quicker man in Super League than Matty Ashton? I think statistically there isn't.
Statistically, there's not a quicker player.
But you never know, because I'd love to see him in a race.
Yeah.
Because that's not them racing, that's just them top speed.
But I want to talk about the commitment to defence. We talked about the lack of it from Dufty, and you can see it here. Field, absolutely flying back, managed to get to Ashton on the 35, on the 30 metre line, 35, and just falls off the tackle. He's grabbing at his leg.
Gets his boot.
It rips his boots off.
Yeah,
it rips his
you know
boots
what?
off.
If he'd tied his laces quicker, he'd have been tackled.
Yeah.
Thewlis. Ashton manages to carry on.
He might have actually done some serious damage to Ashton. He might have done some to himself, facially, because he took a boot to the face. But that NRL physio was saying that thing that happened to Ashton can be quite
The boot
damaging.
coming off.
When the boot comes off, but also when I think he stands on Field's head out accidentally, or something happens where Field's head collides with his boot. That's why it comes off, and that can be quite painful.
I hadn't seen that. But then, talking about defence again, Jake Wardle, still with 10 metres to go, has come all the way across the field to try and give a go at tackling Ashton. Bevan French is back there, doesn't give up the sprint. Probably not going to catch him. They probably know they're not. But I just think that's what makes this team so special, moments like that.
Yeah.
Because when it matters, and Field makes that tackle and drags him into touch, it's a game winner. In that case, it doesn't really matter. He doesn't score anyway. But the fact that is a game-winning moment in big situations. The tackle that he made on was it Taylor and May?
Yeah.
In the World Cup Challenge. Because you just give that 1 extra %. You try that little bit harder than you need to. Right, there was 3 other games in Vegas. Obviously, the Raiders and the Warriors were next.
Can't believe we're not talking about Cade Ellis.
I could talk about them all.
Come on.
Cade Ellis.
Cade Ellis got some raps, didn't he, from the commentators? And we've been giving Cade Ellis raps for a while.
As he deserves.
The way he's turned into a ball-playing 13, I don't think many people saw coming.
No.
I know he's got one of the best ones, well, ever in the British game, coaching him. But we saw what was a pretty willing prop turn into a ball-playing 13. And
an 80-minute ball-playing 13.
And in a big game, an 80-minute ball-playing 13. And those are absolute gold dust.
Yeah.
I think he's up there. You said top 3 in most positions. He's probably top 3.
Well, we're top 3 in pretty much every position, but
I would struggle to find a better 13 in the league than him.
I wouldn't swap him.
I wouldn't swap him for anyone.
No.
Big tackles, we call him big game Cade.
Yeah.
And actually, it's good to see there was a couple of people using that and noting how he is in big games, because he just didn't ever give up.
Mm-hmm.
Even in this, they didn't take him off. Anyone else you want to talk about?
There's loads we could talk about.
I thought Cruz Lehman was brilliant.
I thought Walters was solid.
I thought Lee was good. I'm liking Walters off the bench.
Yeah.
He did it last week as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I spoke about it last week.
And I think because he's the second row, because he can play a bit at prop as well, he did big minutes last week.
The biggest compliment for Sam Walters is that he's made himself undroppable.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He has to be in the 17. And the other, we talk a lot about why tries are scored. And what we talk about sometimes is where and how the previous tackle was made. Mm-hmm. If it's a quick play of the ball where you've got 4 or 5 in, 3 or 4 in, whatever, and you're still driving, you tackle on the right point. Quite a few times Walters was tackled and then we scored. And it was a brilliant run and scramble in defence to stop him, and then we scored. It was something like that. I think Walters put himself in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
So I was pleased with him.
Mm-hmm. He's made himself undroppable.
I think he's a very talented boy, and he's a very talented player.
Yeah.
How big is he?
He's bigger than outside.
Yeah, he's big.
But you mentioned him coming off the bench, and he's been used as that middle forward. But in games that we might have a bit of room to breathe in, to say, you can take a Liam Farrell off, you can take a Junior Nasamba off.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because there is the minutes restrictions, and we're going to have to rotate them this year.
Yeah.
And I just think actually you can say, listen, Junior, go and only play 55.
And Junior has put on a bit of size this time, and it looks like it's,
Liam Farrell, you're 34, 35 now. Go and only play 50 minutes. Game's won. It gives you options. And I don't, as a coach, when you look at your bench, all you want is options. And you know what? You pick up an injury in the first minute, you can play 80 minutes.
Yeah.
I know we spoke a lot about Brad O'Neill coming back. I'll be sad to see Forber leave the team.
Yeah. Done a very good job, hasn't he, Phil?
He's done a very good job.
I do think that there's a case of, at some point...
He offers something a bit different to Lehman and to Brad, actually. They all offer different things.
But
I'd love to have a world where you could carry all three, but...
Do you think there's a case here that Brad will come back into the team and then they might give Lehman a week off?
Maybe.
Use Forber.
He trusts Forber, clearly.
Yeah.
He trusts Forber. He played in the grand final, he played in this Vegas game. He clearly trusts Forber. So I don't see why you wouldn't do that.
Having a rotation option.
I said it last week, I'll say it again. I'll be sad to see if he leaves Liam Byrne.
Yeah.
I know we can't pay him all.
Liam Byrne was good.
Liam Byrne's going to go and make a lot of money, and he deserves to, and I don't think we can afford to spend that money on him with the way our squad's, and that's fine. But he's one I'll be sad to see go because he's important to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else I would say would stand out.
I mean, the whole team.
We actually haven't spoke about Bevan French, really. 1 try and 1 try assist.
Well, the man of the match for the World Club Challenge, the man of the match for the Challenge Cup final, the Grand Final, the Vegas game. Yeah.
You run out of words to describe the man.
He deserved all of them.
The best thing, or the biggest statement I could say, is he might be the greatest Super League player I've seen.
Well,
And he's in that conversation now.
Yeah, 100%.
He's in that conversation, especially for Wigan. He's up there with
yeah.
a lot playing. He's up there with Sam Tompkins, Tommy Luluai. And at some point, the volume of awards that he's winning will come into effect. He's going to be there or thereabouts for Man of Steel again. It won't be long before not only is he in the conversation, but if he carries on in this run of form, he might be a shoo-in for our greatest Super League player.
He's a fantastic player, we all know, but he's a big game player.
Yes.
And the thing is, with Wigan's squad, it's full of him. Cade Ellis, Bevan French, Harry Smith. The bigger the occasion, the better they play.
And I think in Warrington have never dealt with him. He loves playing against Warrington. Warrington have never dealt with him well.
No. I don't think there's anyone that's ever dealt with him well.
No,
to be honest.
but there's been games where he's had quiet games. Well, big games, he's never had really a very quiet game in a big one.
I look at him and there's just that will. I want to be that guy.
It's the confidence, the mentality to not shy away in the big occasion, but to actually say, you know what, pass me the ball. I want my hands on the ball as much as I can today.
I think that's why the move to 6
mentality.
has just made him,
Yeah.
because he gets his hand on the ball a lot more.
It's easy, you know what I mean, to go into a big game and just think to yourself, right, just do the basics well today, nothing too fancy, just, make me yards, make me tackles, I'll be fine. But he's like, no, big occasion, pass me the ball, I'm going to make something special happen. And that mentality is just ridiculous.
What I was going to say, he's developed as a player from a you can't stop me when I do something, I'm special.
Yeah.
To actually, I am the best player on this pitch. Give me the ball and I'm going to show you.
But also, he's a cog in the team.
I'll do the hard work. I'll defend whatever.
Which as a fullback, he never had to be.
No, but I'll defend.
Winger, never had to be.
I'll make my 30 tackles. He made 200 metres, and obviously he's made a few breaks in that. But again, I think we said, Lewis, when he went to 6-0, it was like the third tackle. He took a driving, and I went, oh, he's up for it now.
Yeah.
Because he wants his hand all over everything, and it was just like, give me this ball. I'm going to
probably saw many cameras with her and then thought, yes, I can show off here.
I'm going to show you how good I am.
Marshall no try would have been a try in Britain, by the way. Because the camera quality is not good enough to see that separation. I'm not joking.
I know.
The ball would have gone stretched and he would have said, well, there's no evidence.
His fingers would have looked like 2 metres long.
Yeah.
But that wraps up the game. We could carry on talking about it for the next 2 hours.
Well, we probably will when we press stop on this.
Yeah, and carry on talking. There was a couple of other games. The Raiders played New Zealand. Raiders a bit one-sided. The Warriors weren't at the best. Clearly missing Sean
Raiders
Johnson.
in the first half, though, were absolutely electric.
Oh, yeah. Loved it. Morgan Smithies went on the bench for a change.
I like that Hosking second row.
They won 30 points to 8. The Warriors are struggling without Sean Johnson.
Yeah.
They need a general. They need someone to boss them round. The Gillaroos played England. Was it 92 points to 6 in the end?
90 points to 4, maybe something like that.
The British game has come on a long way in women's rugby.
Yeah.
They're still miles and miles ahead.
Miles ahead.
And
because they, since the last World Cup, they've gone on.
yeah. They beat the New Zealand team 54 points to 4.
Yeah.
I think it was in the final
But
in
they've got so much
2019.
better since then.
And they're so much better then. England have caught up, but they've gone a long way into getting things right and watching what the clubs are doing. Massive. Wigan are setting up a women's academy. I think there's a women's reserve team now. Doing all the right things. It's just going to take time.
Yeah, of course.
It's going to take ages, yeah. It will take ages.
And we'll get there. But it was probably one step too early.
It was way too early for this to be on, yeah.
Next game, Penrith versus Cronulla. 28 points to 22.
Shame this one didn't really work for the time.
Yeah. Obviously, managed to watch the highlights back. Some big moments, big players. They just look as good as ever. And I know they've lost Jerome Luai-Penrith and they've lost the winger Taruva. They just replace him.
They lost prop.
Fisher Harris.
Yeah, to the Warriors.
But they just replace him.
They bring through some quality youngsters, and it's something we've said in this side of the hemisphere. The clubs that bring through quality youngsters do well. They brought in Lindsay Smith. What's that other guy called? I don't remember his name.
Casey McLean. Is that the young lad?
No, I'm thinking of another prop who was on the bench.
I was just looking at the side here.
Lindsay Smith they brought in. He's got the long hair. Henry. Did Henry play?
Was it
Liam Henry.
Patia?
They brought through some good young forwards anyway.
But they just continually replace them. They brought in Isaiah Papali'i.
Yeah, he's bit of
Been
experience. Nathan Cleary just is the best player in the competition, isn't he? He's so good. And
Someone said it the other day.
And again, when it's a big game.
He is now an immortal. He will be an immortal.
I think so.
The effect that he's had on rugby league, he has to be. He's comfortably the best player in the world. Right, that wraps it up. Vegas, what an experience. We're going to take a quick break and we'll come back and talk about the rest of Super League and what's going on there.
Right, gentlemen, time for some news. So, what's going on in the world of rugby league? First off, some good news. Lindsay Burrows, the inspirational Lindsay Burrows, has took it upon herself. She decided she's going to enter the London Marathon.
Oh, wow.
Obviously for motor neuron disease. Obviously her story is inspirational as well as Rob's of what they've been going through. Rob was obviously all throughout his time facing the illness was very, what's the word I'm looking for?
He was charismatic, he was strong. He fought it as well as he could.
Well, he did, and he was. I'm more thinking how he was towards that. He was so empathetic, but so grateful for his wife as well, wasn't he? He always said about how strong Lindsay was being. He couldn't really speak high enough of her. So to see her doing this is absolutely fantastic. So best of luck to Lindsay Burrows as she ventures on that challenge. Bit of disappointing news now out of Super League. Salford. We said in the pre-season episode they're going through some financial troubles. It's been confirmed that the players now, I think, was it end of last week or into this week now?
From my understanding and what I've read, they were meant to get paid. They were told they would get paid on Thursday morning.
They're refusing to train, aren't they? That's the story. Salford players have refused to train.
To train until they're paid.
The last Thursday of the month is their usual payday.
Yeah, from the reports, they were meant to get paid the last Thursday of the month. Contractually, though, based in the contract, it was the day after the Friday.
Just the last day of the month. Which is when I get paid.
Yeah, they were expected to get paid on the Thursday morning. In the contract, they were told, in the contract it said they could have been Friday. So they wake up Thursday morning, they've not been paid, they don't know much else about that. As it stands, they've now not been paid, and when they spoke on Thursday, they were told that it would be Tuesday or Wednesday. So it's not a story, we're recording on Monday. As it stands, it's not a story that they've not been paid today. They weren't expecting to get paid on Monday. They were, on the other hand, expecting to get paid Tuesday or Wednesday, and if not, then there may be further issues based off that.
Yeah.
But this it's worth mentioning while we talk, before we go into the games. Hull KR Salford was the Thursday. So suddenly you're expecting to get paid Thursday morning and then go and play your game. You don't get paid. You get told it's going to be Friday, because that's what your contract says. So you go and play that game, but you've woke up after not being paid.
Yeah, it must be so tough to... I mean, if we weren't getting paid for the job we were doing, short term, you'd say, well, I don't want to speak for you two, but I'd go in, but I wouldn't do anything above the bare minimum.
No,
I'd still teach the lessons.
You'd be reserved because...
I'd be in there from 8:30 till 3:30, where I'm bare minimum. I wouldn't be doing anything extra. And you can't you can't put a full effort
I'm going to say
being paid.
There's a slight difference to that though, Matty. The difference being is they've already not been paid. They already had no money once. They were then told that the issues were going to be sorted. They've got this buyer. The whole thing with the RFL kicked off that the RFL didn't just approve this owner, and that's because they've got to do their checks. And you know what? I'm not one for sticking up for the RFL.
We spoke about that.
It
feels like we're speaking about it every week, though, and it's like it must be heartbreaking for a Salford fan to be one week you're okay, you're saved, then the next, not even week, the next day.
But the issue is they've not paid off the debt that they were supposed to, the 500k loan that hasn't been paid off. My understanding is they took a loan out to pay that. They've not met the things, and they're reporting that it's based off fraud check, because a large sum of money moving to an account that's effectively got no money because Salford a skint in effect. So the fraud checkers and the banks are basically holding it to check and confirm that it's right. But surely you would be speaking to the banks before. But surely you would be speaking to the bank saying, listen, we're about to buy a professional sports club where we're going to have to import 3 million. You know, like, inform them almost early.
It's a weird one. So I feel sorry for everyone involved. I feel sorry for the players not getting paid. I feel sorry for the fans who don't know if the club is going to end up still being a club or it's going to go into this or whatever by the end of it, 'cause it's not looking healthy.
Bigger than that, I'm sorry, you got to mention it. The workers, the actual site staff, the barmen, the stewards, they're not being paid.
Some of the players and staff will have left.
Yeah.
Family situations in other countries to play this.
This
team.
And the talk is now that the RFL might put in the sustainability cap again. I don't know why they released it. That's my one criticism of the RFL. Until that money's there, you've been put in that place. So I would put them back in it immediately until that money hits and people.
Well, they will tomorrow.
I feel sorry for Paul Rowley as a coach. One, obviously, because he's probably not getting paid as well. But two, like, what's he meant to do now with this group of players? How does he motivate them when they're not getting paid? How does he?
I do, but he also went on Sky and pushed the RFL to just allow it through. In his comments, he didn't want the RFL to do the sustainability check. He wanted them to raise this sustainability cap and let them do whatever. In reality, the RFL should have said, no, you got to sell some players because they've got no money. Paul Rowley didn't want to sell players, which I understand, but then you can't tell the RFL to not do the checks and due diligence. So I do lose a little bit of sympathy for him because the money's not there. Just because someone promises it's going to be there, you can't just...
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it?
I'll pay you next week. How many times have you heard that? I'll pay you next week.
Yeah, it's a shame for everyone involved. It's a shame for Salford as well, because as a club, they look like they was on the move. They've got to grand finals. They've been putting in really good competitive forwards. They're not an easy 2 points like they used to be back in the day. They've got a fantastic coach in Paul Rowley. And seeing going through this hardship, it's not good for Salford. It's not good for the Super League. We need that. If it's going to get solved, it needs to be solved as soon as physically possible, doesn't it? Signing news.
Yeah.
Liam Watts is back at Hull FC.
Yes, he is.
From the Castleford Tigers. It's a bit of a strange one, this one.
Very weird.
Castleford don't have a lot of size in their pack as it is. Liam Watts is probably the biggest forward they've got, and they
felt weird.
He's going to Hull FC.
The answer to not making enough meters. I watched them against Leeds. Never got outside their own 20.
No.
Till Leeds took the foot off the gas. The answer to we need more meters in our pack is to get rid of one of your pack leaders and one of your bigger forwards. As far as I know, with no replacement, I don't know if there's been a falling out or what, but...
You're going to talk about it here, and the next side, so you might as well mention it, Lewis.
Yeah, so Liam Knight to Hull FC.
Season-long loan.
Season-long loan, yeah.
So another big body. Haven't they made a third side?
He's a big body. He'll play in the back row, probably.
Yeah, but he's a big back rower. He's a big back rower. He's going to make meters.
The guy who used to be at South.
They've signed Sam Esse.
Oh, they've signed Sam Esse on a season-long loan. So I'll tell you what.
They've added some size.
If you're Cass and you're begging, if we want a chance of competing, then we need some size. And you let Liam Watts go, who's probably your biggest pack member, as in physically size. I'm not saying minutes or effectiveness.
No, but he's a bit of a leader in it as well.
And he's got some experience.
His best rugby's behind him, fine. He's still an important player. You need him.
And a team that you're competing with has took him and took 2 more big bodies that you now can't get.
And this is to... Have you got Liggy Sow on that news thing there? This is to combat Liggy Sow being out for the season.
Yeah.
We thought he was last week when we spoke about it. We thought he would be out for the season. And he is.
But just throwing that. Then the amateurishness of Castleford.
Spelling their own coach's name wrong.
Releasing a statement and spelling Danny Maguire's name wrong.
Danny Maguire, the head coach of the club, spelling their after.
And then posting a picture of a team huddle where Liam Watts is very clearly
giving instruction.
The one leading that conversation.
That's not the most amateur thing from a West Yorkshire club to do with their head coach, though. Because after Featherstone's defeat last week, they posted a 15-second video, which is this thing they're doing now where you take a still image and you make it a 15-second video because it improves the impressions for IMG points. So they're trying to scam IMG points. Whenever you see videos like that, they're just a still image. It was a still image of James Ford, the head coach, and it said, "We didn't get the result we wanted." This is when they lost to London. "We didn't get the result we wanted, but we're all behind James Ford. He's the right man to lead us." This is from the official club account. "He's the right man to lead us forward." 2 days later, James Ford had been sacked by Featherstone.
Who thinks this is a good idea?
Club accounts.
It's ridiculous.
Club admins need to be professional.
It is. It's shocking. Last bit of the signing news, we got Tyson Smoothie, who has signed for Wakefield. So he's from Brisbane and he plays 9.
He's a 9 for Brisbane.
Yeah, so
only for next year, 2026.
Yeah.
So not get him immediately.
He's got a job to do, hasn't he, with Brisbane this year?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's a quality player.
Bench 9 usually for Brisbane, sub 9.
I'll tell you what, if they keep Liam Hudden, that's a rolling on and off thing. Obviously, they've got Ollie Russell who's doing it at the moment.
Yeah. It's a good signing, that, I think. Smooth is
It's a great signing. 4-year deal, wasn't it, or something?
Doesn't matter, 3.
It's good for Wakefield, do you know what I mean? Like, say, this is a bit that, God, I don't want to go back to it, but it's what Salford did, wasn't it? They went and got some good names out there. They went and got Brodie Croft, for example, and they're going to now sign him. Yeah, it's good.
What I really like, there's been a big shift in the last 10 years of not signing over-the-hill NRL players, because Wakey made the mistake the year they went down. Kevin Proctor.
Yeah.
A couple of signings like that.
What's the winger called? Tafua.
Yeah, George Tafua.
Yeah, he's not doing a decent job for Bradford, but that's probably where we are.
Different level.
Actually, maybe not go and getting a star, but bringing a guy over who's an okay to good player in there.
With a point to prove.
And give him some big money and say, listen, we want to build a team around you.
We made that comment about Catalan, didn't we? Look how they've started the season.
Look at what they've signed.
We made that comment that they look like they've picked up a rugby league magazine from 2016 and built a pack around that.
Yeah, it is. It's a strange one. And then last one for signings for next year, Morgan Knowles. Set to leave Super League, to leave St Helens and join up with the Dolphins in the NRL.
It's not surprised he's gone to the Dolphins.
Well, that's his old coach, isn't it, Wolf? On the one hand, it's a disappointment because any time a good player leaves the competition, it's a disappointment. On the other hand, he's been at the club for a long time.
It's his testimonial here.
He owes them nothing because he's given them 10 good years. He's won everything there. And he's deserved the chance to go to the NRL. You know, he's not a young man by any means, but he's still got plenty left in the tank.
28.
He's a good player. So, I think, and maybe he improves and maybe there's another linchpin of the national side, maybe. I can imagine bringing Morgan Knowles off the bench would be fantastic. Play anywhere in the pack.
Matty Lees has extended, though.
Matty Lees has extended. And I know Sean Wayne quite likes, both of these forwards.
He does,
uncompromising forwards. So that might improve the national side, which is always good. So, I'm mixed feelings about Knowles leaving. Obviously, it makes Saints weaker, but they'll probably replace him. Yeah. They've recruited all right, haven't they, recently, so they'll probably replace him quite well.
Yeah, I think so. But it would be good to see. I always look forward to English players going on. As much as you don't want to lose the stars from our competition, I do I'm filled with optimism to say that, see how they're going to do, what's going to go and happen here. Couple of the last 3 pieces of news we've got, I'll go through these very quick, because I know it's been a long episode anyway, but we're going to go through a couple of kind of things that's come out of Vegas.
Okay.
Things, yeah. So the first one, bit of a humorous one, this one. The stadium, which is nicknamed the Death Star for how it is shaped. It's a massive stadium.
It's massive, isn't it? The Vegas Raiders Stadium.
Yeah, and it is sold out of beer, I believe, within...
Well, I don't think it sold out after an hour, but they sold
They broke the record. Oh no,
They broke the record after an hour, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's only 4 years old, but they've had lots of games there with the NFL team. It broke the record for amount of beer sold after an hour. I don't think they sold out. But
but it sold more.
it was $16 a pint.
It was something
$16
ridiculous
for a bottle of Coors.
It was ridiculously priced on. I know, but that's one of the things you get at these sort of events. But
And you couldn't take your own food or drink in. So I saw what a lot of people were doing. This is clever, this. They had their main ticket, and they were buying upper bowl tickets for $16 and then leaving and coming back. So you go in your first time on your $16 ticket, you go and sit in your seat. After you've watched Wigan and Warrington or whatever, you think, I need a break now. Go out, get something to eat for a reasonable price. I mean, it's Vegas, so it's not going to be reasonable, but compared to the prices there, have a few drinks, come back in on your $16 ticket, or your proper ticket.
right, okay.
We're taking advantage maybe of the cheap ticket prices rather than the expensive concessions.
No, I think it's a good idea, I think. And I think if you can keep coming and going in and out to the stadium, then why not? Or you can save a bit of money for people who've already travelled. They spent a lot of money to get over there.
Make the attendance look a bit bigger as well. Buying 3 tickets for a same person.
This sort of strange one, this one, to come out of Vegas. The Warriors assistant coach, Richard Ager, former coach, obviously, of Leeds, Wakefield, obviously done a couple of different clubs in
Should point out New Zealand Warriors.
New Zealand Warriors, yeah. So I'm reading this off a tweet here from a...
Not Wigan Warriors.
So yeah, New Zealand Warriors assistant coach Richard Ager is being investigated by the NRL over allegations he verbally and physically abused a journalist from the UK's The Guardian, including grabbing him by the throat during half-time of the loss to Canberra.
And that's from the league scene.
Yeah.
Well, there's loads of people reporting it.
Yeah. It's...
Buzz Rothfield has gone on
Oh, look. Richard Ager grabbing a guy by the throat.
Actually,
At half time. You're losing the game. Get back in it.
honestly, I can't tell you how close that is to what actually he said. He said he was there and saw it and witnessed it.
I was there.
He said Richard Agar came through the media section to get to the elevator to come down to the sheds, and he saw the reporter and verbally abused him and then grabbed him by the throat, and then said that this is our section, and a little bit of like a fight back of the journalists versus the coaches. Don't come in here while we're working, sort of thing. It was a bit weird.
Whatever the journalist has done, you can't do this, can you?
No, and let's be honest.
If it's
Whatever
true.
he said, it can't be that bad.
It's 3 years ago as well.
Yeah, sure you've seen.
I don't remember. That was the year he got sacked from Leeds, wasn't it?
It might have been a thing saying that he's on the block or whatever. And
I mean, they did make the grand final. Jerome Smith and Richard Ager said it was down to him. Do you remember that?
let's not bring Rowan Smith up. But you can't do that. The Warriors have made a statement today saying that the confident CCTV footage will show that it didn't happen the way the journalist has reported. I don't get why the journalist would say it if this hasn't happened. You would expect CCTV to be there. It's a bit like... It's not really somewhere you could get away with a lie, is it? In a mega multi-pound stadium.
Put those on the stand.
There's got cameras everywhere.
So the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yeah, strange.
Weird things in rugby league, isn't there?
That's so weird.
Good news to end. Although, again, I'm taking this with a pinch of salt because it's the rugby league world and everything can change, but Vegas has been confirmed for this time.
Yeah.
Next year. So it has been confirmed that Vegas will happen again.
Vegas was already confirmed for the next 2 years. And then they want to extend, but I think the confirmation is that there will be a Super League presence again.
Sorry, that's what I should have
said.
said. Yeah, so Super League will return to Vegas, should I say, for next year.
The NRL's not having any repeat teams until everyone's been once.
Right.
But then you think NRL teams could probably all afford to go.
Yeah, Super League's a little bit different in that respect.
So I don't know who's going to go next time. Maybe not Wigan or Warrington again. Maybe somebody different will, like we said before.
Yeah, it is. Anything else that's going on in the rugby league world that I've missed?
Yeah.
So
It's basically
Ashes.
been confirmed that the Ashes is returning.
Oh, okay.
For the first time since 2003, the Kangaroos are apparently going to travel to play in the Ashes series between Australia and Great Britain.
Yes.
Apparently it's reported that it's Great Britain. The 3 stadiums are being confirmed as Wembley.
But it shouldn't really matter whether it's England or Great Britain because the lineup will be the same. But There is something about Great Britain, isn't there?
The name, the Ashes, the experience of England versus GB, all of that together. It's that shirt as well, that iconic shirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, game 1, Wembley. Game 2 is apparently Everton's new Bramley Moore Dock.
Oh yeah, I walked at that one.
And
brilliant.
Headingley as game 3.
Oh. Imagine if that's to decide.
Yeah, no.
That seems a bit weird to go from Wembley to Headingley. No disrespect to them, but going from a 80,000 seater capacity.
80,000 National Stadium. Yes. Brand new, state of the art. Yeah. Not the biggest stadium in the world, but one of the biggest.
90,000, and then it's 52,888.
Which is perfect, and you're on top of the fans. It's in a good place. Then Headingley just seems like a. I mean, I'll go to all 3 because when are we ever going to see a chance for Great Britain to beat England? Beat Australia?
That would be impressive.
Great Britain wouldn't beat England, no. But we're not going to get a chance that often. No. I don't remember the last time we played Australia on these shows.
We didn't play them at the last World Cup, did we?
We didn't play them at the last World Cup. We didn't play them at the 13 World Cup. The last time we played Australia in this country.
We went to a game at the DW.
When we were kids, it would have still been the JJB.
Yeah.
Danny Tickle played. Yeah. We're going back some way there.
Yeah.
If Tickle will line up in second row.
Definitely going to a many.
So, yeah, I'll go to all of them. I'll go to all of them.
Yeah. No, it's good news. Again, the international game's what we want to promote, isn't it? And I think
these Aussies all want to play at Wembley as well.
I think so, and I think especially over here, we've had a successful series against Tonga, against Samoa. We've shown that we're hard to beat in England.
I just wonder who the warm-up games are going to be. You know, the tour games. Because they said they want to bring the tours back. Villandi said he wants to bring the tour back. Abdo want to bring the tour back.
They've not confirmed the date yet, have they?
It's the last week in October and the first 2 in November, I think.
Because the problem is most teams will have broke up and had Mad Monday.
That's the thing. They'll end up playing like Celtic Nations, which is not a test.
No, it'll be a good warm-up and whatever.
They might play France. Jinx. Well, they used to talk about Wigan being the 4th test, didn't they? They can't play Wigan.
Especially not. Let's say we can get through to the grand final, which is obviously our hope. They finish playing Man Monday. 7 players could potentially be. Sorry, you think Marshall, Wardle, Smith, Thompson, O'Neill, Havard, Farrell could be in. I don't think he will be, but December
will be in. Walters might be in.
Dupree might be in. You're looking 7-8 players.
If it's Great Britain, Burn might be in. Wade might just pick the whole Wigan squad. Bevan French could qualify by the time he's lived there for 5 years. By the time August comes round,
yeah. But my point being is potentially 7 or 8 attempts, so you won't play Wigan.
If Bevan French qualifies for Great Britain on residency and wins man of the match at Wembley against Australia, he might actually get a statue. He might get a statue. The next name of the ground will be the Bevan French Stadium. If that happened,
I'm happy with that. Put that energy out into the universe.
It should be that anyway.
Right, Lewis. Thank you for the news.
It's all good.
We'll take a quick break and we'll come back with a wrap round of
the
rest of Super League, really. So, we've got to go around the grounds. Obviously, no one getting the nice travel that we did to Vegas. And we're going to start off on Thursday night. Salford, after finding out they'd not been paid in the morning, they get the nice 3-hour coach journey to Hull KR. All the fans got stuck.
That's ridiculous. The fans got stuck, didn't they?
Yeah.
They were very late.
Have you not seen that picture of the one fan that made it on time?
They were all late. It was just like, oh, here we go. I'm about to enter Hull now and we're 18-0 down.
42 points to 0. They did this.
Who put this on a Thursday?
I know, it's bad fixture planning, isn't it? Making because your teams go all the way to.
They don't care, Lewis. They don't care.
No.
I genuinely wonder whether they just don't even think about it.
This could be Saints on Wakey. That's not that far on Friday. I know it's still not ideal, but
the Leeds Cass.
Put Catalan on a Thursday if you need to.
Leeds Cass.
All else fails. Put Catalan on a Thursday.
Hull KR without Mikey Lewis and Tyrone May. It was Hiku and Danny Richardson. This is actually probably the first time I've ever seen a 2-week loan work out well, because he's only played for Huddersfield for 2 weeks. and when his loans ended, his clubs actually needed him.
They've needed him.
So he played, did pretty well, got man of the match, I think.
It's about the first time we ever speak positively about Danny Richardson.
Yeah. He didn't need to do any tackling because Salford didn't really throw any threats at them.
He's about as good as tackling as Matt Duff did.
42-0.
It's so demoralising, isn't it, when they got
2 yellow cards for Salford. Just what that. Right at the end, Chris Hill, with 15 minutes to go, he gave 2 6-agains away in 2 tackles.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at a different yellow card from this weekend that we're going to get to.
And then give a penalty away. So he give 2 6-agains and a penalty in 3 consecutive tackles.
In most weekends, this would be the funniest yellow card, but it's not.
No, it's not. And then protested. As if he'd done nothing.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous.
And as if because we're getting battered 36-0, you can't sing them. Like, I don't get it.
Weird game, that. Weird game.
Yeah.
Move on.
42-0. And then we go to Friday.
Yes,
Lee
this was the worst yellow card.
Go on, Matty, talk us
John
through
and Desiree. John and Desiree had an absolute disaster of 2 minutes. Where
was he on for 2 minutes?
He got subbed on. He knocked on immediately, just absolutely immediately knocked on. He was caught offside. He had a high shot. Then they kicked it dead. The Lee player was running to take the 20-metre tap quickly.
You know the quick one where they
the quick 20-metre tap, and Desiree just tackled him like 10 yards out from the line. Nowhere near the 20-metre.
Just to stop him taking a quick quick tap.
And then he looked absolutely gutted with himself because he got sin-binned. What was going on? Oh, and you said, we were on the phone at this point because this was already funny enough with Desiree's disaster. And Luke Keary went and patted him on the back. He went, don't pat him on the back. That's the worst 2 minutes I've ever seen a rugby player have.
Like, I think my words to you, Matty, were, you Luke Keary, you've been at the Roosters for the last 10 years, you've won premierships, you've played Origin, and now you've got to teach people the rules of rugby. like, wow. Lee, good. Very good from Lee.
Looking good, Lee. Looking very good this season. Again, I've gone through a couple of changes. I think people are going to wonder how that third up.
They look fresh. They look a little bit rejuvenated, you know.
They had no Armstrong in this game, and that lad Bailey Hodgson looked great.
Yeah. They look like they've got a bit of depth as well. We were talking about the squads the other day, and
they've got better, but depth is younger.
Yeah.
All them players that they let go to Hull FC seems like a good decision now.
Yeah, it does.
Catalans talk about Lee looking younger.
Dad's Army, the pensioners club.
This
got the bus pass play for Catalan these days.
They've cut the winter fuel loans. That's why I've got
That's why I've got France, because they can't afford to put the retail in this country because Starmer's took the into fuel allowance off.
I know we're joking, but seriously, these guys, this looks like a Catalan side from like the early 2010s.
Yes.
Has been Super League players, go to Catalan, 2 years tax free, make a bit of cash. If you look at the players that they've got, Makinson, 33, 34. Luke Keary retired.
He did.
Retired from the game. Elliot Whitehead, 35, 36, I want to say.
Yeah, something like that.
So there's the videos of
Tariq
Makinson
Sim.
berating his team
Tariq
on the
Sims.
pitch.
How old's Tariq Sims? And then they don't have a 9. They don't have a 9. Benjamin Garcia has been a prop or a loose forward all his career. And I'm going to see if I can figure out his age. I'll search it in a minute.
If you're Alrix da Costa, you've been back up 9 your whole career. McIlaurin's left. You don't stand a 9. Here's a big chance. Then Ben Garcia gets named as starting 9. It must be a slap in the face for da Costa.
He's 32 at the start of April.
Yeah.
He's never been a 9. He might have filled in a game.
I don't remember him ever playing like properly a 9 other than filling.
And then I'm looking at some of the French players. They don't look anywhere near as...
Rugby League Project will tell you.
They don't look anywhere near as strong as they did previously. I'm just so... When you look at the work that McNamara did in getting out some of the deadwood, changing it, bringing some fresh, young French talent, making them exciting, strong.
He's played 12 games at hooker out of about 300.
So he's filled in for a game or two here and
He's
there.
filled in here and there, yeah.
That says enough. I'm honestly amazed. This just does not look like a balance. It looks like, oh my God, he's available, let's sign him. Reema Smith, great player.
Yeah.
Did you really need a big money centre? Nick Cottridge, did you really need a big money winger?
They've got money to spend, so they're going to spend it, you mean?
Yeah. And obviously they've got the ability to bring English players in for less with the tax reasons. We've talked about that before. Why did you bring Luke Hugh in? He'd retired. That tells you the position that he's in.
Yeah.
Sam had retired.
Mm.
Maybe, I don't know. I really don't know. I wish I could do season predictions again, though.
I had him 7th. I think that's too high.
That's my point. That is my point. Yeah.
Was the other game on Fridays? Was that on Friday as well?
That was Friday.
The other game?
Other game.
Yeah, it was Hull FC versus Huddersfield.
Yes, that was Friday.
The Friday game. Hull FC winning at 11-10 winners.
Yeah, drop goal from the retired Aidan Caesar.
Yeah,
For the win.
Wigan, Amir Burra. Great. I want to point this out, sorry. From this drop goal. Such a good pass.
Good signing, yeah.
It was such a good pass from Burra. Because he's got it almost 15 yards back. And he's absolutely nailed this pass flat.
Yeah.
And gives Caesar about 10 yards of room rather than him being rushed.
Yeah.
It was such a good pass.
You want to be that deep, don't you? When you get a good chance, because they're quite close to the post there, weren't they?
But it's right in his hands as well.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not, he's like jump high or go low. Sometimes you see him after the...
For a right-footed kicker, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Set up for him.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Hull now won 3 games out of 4, 3 competitive fixtures, which is what they won last year.
Mm-hmm.
And this was still in February.
Yeah, the winning, like you said, it's the competitive nature, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is a game they could have easily lost last year.
Well, they would have definitely lost it.
This is what I
They
mean.
did on those games to Huddersfield we spoke
Did
about, where playing for your coach's dinner and then playing for his sticky toffee pudding and coffee and mince.
Whatever it was, yeah.
They lost all 3 of them games to Huddersfield.
They need to... This is what they need to do, though, I think, LFC to start building. Just need to win the games with the people around them.
Yes.
Beat Cass, beat Huddersfield.
Being
Teams like that.
Being some wrestles with some teams.
Yeah, that's it. Run Wakefield close.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you make of Huddersfield?
I don't...
They're about as useful as a chocolate fire, aren't they?
Like,
yeah.
they are poor.
They're a poor side,
Yeah. I don't know what the answer is.
No. I'm moving on to Saturday. Wakefield versus St Helens. Now this has been a tough start for Wakey.
They are a tough start, yes.
Leeds, Hull KR, Saints.
Yeah.
Not much harder you could get. They beat Leeds, lost to Hull KR in a close one. They looked a little bit tired towards the end of this game.
Okay.
Yeah, they've just got to keep in the fights, though. You know, it's 26-6. They've not been battered. You know what I mean? They've not had 40, 50 put past them.
It was 14 points to 6 just coming up to
they were
the 60 minute
they were in
mark.
the fight, yeah.
So they just need to keep going, keep doing what they're doing, not be too discerning. Because like you said, they've had some tough starting fixtures. Same like we just said about Hull FC, when their games come around, like Hull FC and Huddersfield, make sure you win them. Take a Salford close.
like a mini league,
what I
isn't
mean?
it? Then
have a good run out against Catalans and just make sure you're competing in the games you should be competing in.
Can you turn someone over that you probably shouldn't and get an extra 2 points? And
Here and there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah. Saints, top of the table. Obviously, they're points difference from the
yes.
Salford game where they have played newly promoted Wakefield. Arguably the worst team in the league, Castleford and Salford's under 18s.
Yeah, and the cup game was against an empty side.
Yeah. Because they've put points on against them.
They've got Warrington. The Warrington game is in the cup. So got Warrington in the cup.
No, they've got Leeds in the cup. So they've got Hull KR next week.
Leeds, yeah.
Leeds, Warrington, Catalan, Wakey, then us on Good Friday.
So that's Super Week again already.
Yeah. But that's going to be a serious run of games.
We'll know by Good Friday. Even before that game, we'll know whether they're serious or not.
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
We don't know much about them this season
I'm just looking past Good Friday. It doesn't get easier. Warrington, Leeds, Catalan.
Yeah.
Hull KR.
That's tough.
I think the Super League now is out. I don't think you get a run of easy game unless you're very, very lucky.
I think the thing
you know
is,
what I mean. You're gonna struggle to get a bunch of easy games.
there's 8 and 4 in there. There's 8 competitive teams.
Well, it usually is.
And then there's 4 at the bottom at the moment. And it might be 7 and 5 at the moment.
Yeah.
It depends where you consider Wakey and Salford. But there's 3 very clear cut off at the drift.
Yeah.
So if you get lucky and get them 3 back to back, well,
You should get 6 points.
you should get 6 points. But
But you never know.
We'll know more, like you're saying, about Saints in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
Leeds played Castleford.
This is another team I think we'll know a bit more about soon. Leeds.
Yeah, they lost to Wakey first game of the season.
Yeah.
Beat
That's
Salford.
2 wins, is that?
Beat Salford. Beat Cass.
But they should beat Salford and Cash, shouldn't they, really?
I'm going to be honest. Would you be a little bit disappointed if you were a Leeds fan after that game? 38 points to 6 up with 15 minutes left. You then concede 3 tries in the last 10 minutes. Because to me, they're not doing what Wigan did in Vegas. They're not letting a couple of tries in at the end.
Cass can do this to you, though. Cass can put points on like when in bunches. It's just their defence isn't good enough.
Exactly. But you've got to look at Leeds and go, listen, we need a statement. Let's get a 38. Defend well. Let's not be soft.
38-0 or 38-6.
Yeah, 38-6 it was.
Let's get a 44-6. Let's get a 56.
I'll just take 38-6. Just kill the game.
I don't know. I don't think you can level too many accusations at Leeds for falling off when they're so far ahead.
I just think...
You know what?
A team in transition, you try and defend for 80 minutes.
What Cass can do, we've got sexy Tex.
But
That Simbakin scored again, didn't he?
Yeah.
We were impressed with him last time when he played against Saints.
But again, I won't say this. They're playing Cass.
Yeah.
You do that against any other decent team, you're not
Maybe,
30 points clear.
Maybe, but you can never say how the game's going to go.
Cass, I want to mention, been really...
Last time they won a game.
Last time they won a game against Hull in August.
Yeah.
And then before that was Catalan
Yeah.
in the middle of July. It's a tough run. But they lose to Bradford. Very, very disappointing. They get a very, very unfortunate loss in extra time against Hull KR.
Yeah.
And everyone feels, actually, they've shown some fight, actually.
They probably deserved a point.
This is what they deserve. They're like, actually, they can compete and stick with teams. They were very, very bad against Saints.
Yes, awful.
And they were very, very bad against Leeds for 65 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can you put a performance in like the one you did against Hull KR and then follow it up with 2 performances?
That's what I was saying last week, and I'd actually quite like to get Lewis's opinion on this one. Last week, where two league games into the season, Maguire was questioning the effort and the what did he say? Didn't like the way we turned up. Like 2 weeks in.
Yeah, that shouldn't be happening 2 weeks in.
Shouldn't be, no.
It's
a summer thing.
Not when you've just shown that actually, if we do the right things, we can push Hull KR. Now, Hull KR work great, but we can compete.
It's wrong, yeah, and it just gets... Why you don't want to start your season off on a toxic note, do you? And I think your coach having to come out again in front of the cameras, we've had this conversation before, what you say in the sheds, behind the closed doors, that's okay, they're the conversations you have with, as a group of men. But when you're going into you say, no, I didn't like how we turned up, I don't feel like I got off the bus, and all these kind of things. When you're questioning effort, that's questioning the player's integrity, professionalism. Yeah. Do the job you get paid to do, and you didn't show up today. It's really, it can get very sour very quickly.
He said something about like not matching the energy of the fans and not turning up for the fans, and
do you not think he backed himself into a corner to make them comments though? Obviously after Hull KR, I'm so proud of our effort. We've really stuck with them, blah, blah. Really, really positive out in the press. We've done such a great job here.
Well, it was a bit of a call to arms, wasn't it? Because they were away in that game.
Yeah, let's do this.
Let's pack the jungle. Let's get it rocking. We'll turn up, and they didn't.
So. And they don't. You then can't sort of just go, oh yeah, we were the second best team, and just try and brush it under. You've sort of got to mention the fact that you tried to rally everyone.
I think if you're head coach, though, you kind of have to play that game. Yeah, you can't give too much away in the media. I think you've got to play that game. The one big talking point from this was the chicken wing.
Yes.
Chicken wing tackle. Well, not tackle really, because they had the ball in it.
Holroyd, charged with a grade E.
A grade E. The tribunal is Tuesday night, so tomorrow as we record this.
It's more like an airbag than a chicken wing.
It was unusual.
Like it
was so unusual.
It didn't look
I think
good.
if he was the defending player, I think he would have walked. Like if this was on an attacking, I think he would have walked. But it was so weird that it was.
It didn't look good.
No, it didn't look good.
Looked quite nasty, to be honest.
There's only one thing you're trying to do there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. It looked quite nasty.
There's only one thing you're trying to do there is break somebody's arm. I don't see what.
I can't remember last time we had a chicken wing.
No, there's not many. You don't like a crusher tackle. I mean, didn't talk about that Liam Burn one where he turns into it. Like it's just an accident. You're trying to tackle a hip drop can be potentially
a slip or a
potentially just trying to get someone down as quick as you can. There's only one thing you're trying to do here. Just break somebody's. I don't genuinely know what rugby thing you're trying to do by putting somebody in an armbar.
Do you think he's just trying to hold him in?
There's a way to do that.
But then he
it's how he twists it and he rolls
putting
over
pressure on his joints.
He's trying to get into his shoulder and bend his arm. It like I said, I didn't like it. It didn't look nice. It didn't look good at all.
Do you think as a ref, you're more... Like I said, we've not seen them for ages, and these things sort of come in waves. Like there was a wave of hip drops. There was a wave of the cannonball tackle.
Yes.
We saw a couple of the tackles that Asiata did back to back, and they were.
Yeah.
Actually, you're not expecting that, and you sort of go, "Is that just? Have I missed it? Have I just missed it?" Sort of thing. It's like
I think this one's very strange because Holroyd had the ball.
Yeah,
that's what makes.
So I think he's probably thinking like you've said. Then Dukes, you're like, oh, he's just trying to trap him in and milk a penalty. Get up and play your ball.
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking.
But he's probably never actually thought the person who's got the ball has got the defender in a chicken wing or an
Because why would that? What would you achieve by doing that?
That's what I mean. It's very
apart from trapping him in, which you could do anyway.
Yeah,
it's easier ways to do it.
Yeah.
Could Cass have challenged it? I don't know if they had the challenge left, I'm going to be honest.
But you have to challenge things when the game's stopped, don't you? So you have to challenge things that stop the game.
Did he put it on
Can you challenge him though? Because he didn't make a call, did he?
I think it just a play on it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, he's actually not made a call.
It's
you can't challenge him because he's not. You can't say I was challenging that challenge. What I've not made a call.
I will be honest. I wasn't feeling well on this day, so I was half awake, half asleep, whatever. So I missed it. Did he stop the game? Because if he stops the game, that means then he's.
I suppose you could have challenged it if you stopped the game to tend to the injured player.
Obviously, I don't know if Cass have already used
played
it.
Around,
Cass have already used it
because it was an arm injury.
I think if he stopped the game, it'd more the video ref on it who would give him
the video ref.
The captain's challenge to say you need to have a do a head high tackle sometimes, and they go back and say you need to have a look at this again.
Very strange. I do think they're going to give him a big ban. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I do.
I think
grade E. There are a few people who've started getting bans now. You know, with getting too many points. There's a couple of people who've got 1 game bans this week from getting too many points, getting 8 points or whatever.
I'm still not certain on this.
I'm not sold on the system. I don't mind it as a system, but I think we've spoken about it before. There's clearly a few flaws in it with the carryover of points.
I do just think it could be the way that they did it worked. They judged each thing and give it a grade or whatever. Whether you're disagreeing with the grade, I just don't get why you wouldn't just say, "We'll keep a track of how many you have."
I like it for things that wouldn't necessarily get banned. Small things, lots of small
that would get you a
things
fine.
That would get you a fine. They add up over time.
But if you just said, "Listen, you've been cited 3 times for high tackles. This has got you a grade a 1 game ban because you've been cited 3 times for the same thing. We're going to add an extra game on."
Yeah, that was already.
What was it that they used to do? Sorry. They used to say, like, due to your disciplinary record, and the same people would avoid bans because they had a good disciplinary record, and then next time also miss a ban because they'd had good disciplinary records.
Yeah.
And if you got a ban, then suddenly you had a bad one and you were having games on it was weird. Right, I think that wraps it up.
Yes.
It's been a long episode.
It has. There's
been a lot to talk about.
Special week.
Yeah, not many times you go to Vegas as a team and beat one of your nearest and dearest rivals.
It's been so special.
Yeah, and our head coach wasn't partying the night away on
a mechanical bull.
On a mechanical bull.
A little leopard.
So, I'm sure he was absolutely stone cold sober.
What do you reckon about Derek and Lee going over there? And
I don't mind it, but I think I would have if I were involved in Lee, I think I would have put it on a different Twitter account.
I don't
I
mind.
probably would have put it on Derek Beaumont's Twitter account. I think it would have, if he did exactly what he did on his own Twitter account, I think it would have been perfectly fine. Because
I'd be annoyed at Sam Burgess if I was a Warrington fan.
Yeah, maybe I would be. I don't know. I mean,
Celebrating like that. Go out and have a drink.
you need to do something as a team. You need to do some sorts of party as a team because it's a big event. If you don't acknowledge that, you don't get up next time. So that's the thing about when you lose at Wembley, you still travel back as a team, you still eat as a team, you still do everything as a team. Win or lose. You have a few beers as a team.
Jumping up on stage with her.
No, I don't think I would be either, but that's, there's a reason that we're not that kind of person.
Yeah.
We're not going to be looking for that sort of situation to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I didn't think we could talk any more about Vegas, and we've managed to. Thank you for listening, guys. Matty, Lewis, thank you for coming on.
No problem.
Always a
To
pleasure.
Huddersfield.
Yeah, Huddersfield this weekend. Hopefully, just get a win.
Hopefully see a few people out and about there with the next proper home game.
Just get a win.
Get away.
I saw a comment saying we'll get a 4-0 here.
Oh, take a 4-0, yeah.
I just tip 2 points. Yeah. See you next week. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.